Do you ever sit there and have a think about what are we going to be experiencing when we actually finally get our hands on GTA 6? So I did some more digging within the leaked information and I've put together a list of all of the events and things that we're going to be experiencing within the world of GTA 6. So what's going on, guys, and welcome back to the channel. In today's video, I'm going to be talking about all of the events and what we're going to be experiencing within GTA 6. So without further ado, let's get into it. So the first thing that I'm going to be talking about is actually something that I've seen, and I've sort of grouped this into a category of robberies and heists, as it were. But we are going to be seeing a more interactive and realistic world in terms of being able to see the NPCs performing certain actions that are going to be part of robberies or heists. So we've seen a couple of different things here. We've seen something called a bar heist within the files, and we've also seen various different versions of robberies. So when it comes to the robberies, we're going to be potentially seeing NPCs that are going to be robbing individual stores within the open world. They're going to be potentially robbing other drug dealers, so we could see some gang feuds there, or some gang warfare maybe, or people just robbing the drugs from a drug dealer and trying to run away, let's say if they're a drug addict. We're also going to be seeing the robbers fleeing the crime scene, so we're going to be seeing them perform the action of actually making the robberies, and we're also going to be seeing them trying to get away and flee. And another thing that I saw was impulsive crimes was mentioned, right? And I'm still grouping this into the robberies side of things, but the impulsive crimes actually came with a list of different things. And this is obviously maybe something that NPCs can do in certain areas of the map. But the impulsive crime list was rob a store, steal a vehicle, or steal your vehicle. So what that means and how much detail is going to be involved in that sort of situation, and whether that's just a random event to happen in front of you, or whether you can sort of see maybe an NPC talking to themselves trying to work out whether they're actually going to perform that robbery or not. But thought I'd mention it. Pretty cool little idea there. So the next thing I wanted to talk about is actually carjackings. We're going to apparently be seeing carjackings happening within the real world of GTA 6. So we've never actually seen NPCs robbing each other to steal the cars. Obviously we've seen playable characters which we control stealing and robbing cars from NPCs, and we've also potentially seen other side characters on missions stealing cars. But we've never been just driving around the world and seen other NPCs carjacking people, or even trying to carjack you, right? So one of the actions that we actually saw is an NPC can bang on the window of a vehicle, and potentially they will either try to steal the vehicle or they will attempt to attack the player. So again, right, really cool little details that they're adding to the game to make it feel much more immersive and actually feel like a real world, by having someone come up to you and potentially try and steal your vehicle if you've just pulled over for a second, or they just pull you out and try and attack you for some reason. Who knows? We've seen that in other games. If you instigate some form of combat, they will try and pull you out of the car perhaps, but to have a random NPC come up to you if you're waiting at the lights, for example, and just try and steal your car, I think that would be quite a cool little event to happen. The next thing that I've seen within the files is we are going to be seeing interactions from many of the NPCs within the world, whether that is directly towards us or whether that is just things happening in the world. But one of those things is we're going to see couples arguing. Within the files, it was actually labeled as busted cheater. So potentially this is going to be something that we just see around the world. Perhaps someone has been caught cheating and then a fight can either kick off, or they can just have a massive argument. Just thought it was a nice little mention to put in there, you know, coming into it, making the world feel a bit more alive and feeling like a real place. Potentially you are going to see those sort of things happen in real life, but you're not going to see that happen within a game every day. So another thing that I think a lot of people will be really interested in, and this is something that I'm really excited for, is we've never really seen the police interact with NPCs within the world of Grand Theft Auto, right? We may see some police chases or some form of interactions here and there, but we haven't really seen anything since GTA 4. GTA 4, we used to see the police chasing after certain NPCs, and it was a lot more realistic in terms of seeing people trying to outrun the police. But what we found within the leaked information is there are going to be cop pat-downs. So there's going to be police pat-downs where they actually pat down potential NPCs or gang members, where they try and identify and find if they have any weapons perhaps, or other illicit substances that they don't want them having, right? So I think that would be a cool little addition if you're just roaming around the world and you see maybe a group of gang members lined up, all getting patted down. I think it would just add immersion to potentially different zones that you are in, right? If you're going through a rougher zone, which is much more filled with gang crime, and then you're seeing that happen, it makes the world feel much more alive and much more realistic. Another thing that we've seen is cop traps. And cop traps, potentially what that says to me is that says things like roadblocks or certain areas where they are trying to entrap a certain criminal. So not much about that, but I thought I'd mention it again. Cop traps, if we see some form of interaction between the NPCs and the police within the world of GTA 6, I think again, it's just going to make it feel much more alive, much more realistic. So the next one is going to be repossessions. And obviously we've dealt with this in Grand Theft Auto 5. We had a few missions where we were doing repos, but I think seeing that actually happening in the real world and potentially having NPCs having their vehicles repoed in front of you, I think that'll be quite cool to see. We haven't seen that I'm aware of anyway. If I'm wrong, let me know down in the comments, but we haven't seen that happening within the world of GTA 5. So to see people's vehicles being repoed and little events like that occurring around the world in front of you, again, makes the world feel more alive. So the next one is funerals and memorials. There were a few different files or file names that were implying that there were going to be some form of funerals within the game and memorial services. So there are memorials surrounding certain gangs as well as just regular funerals. So what it's listed as within the leaked information is driving death memorials. So that immediately says to me that we're potentially going to be seeing funeral services or convoys where you have a vehicle and all of the rest of the family following behind. So potentially we're going to be seeing that sort of thing rolling around the world of GTA 6. And again, it's just another thing, another element that they are adding to the game that is potentially going to add much more realism and make the world feel more alive. The next few that I wanted to talk about are sobriety tests. So we are going to potentially be seeing people being pulled over and actually having sobriety tests from the police force. Again, all of these things will be cool to see and cool to be happening within the world. Whether that is something that can occur and happen to us as a player, I think that would be a cool little element. If you just had random interactions with the police as well, I think that may be quite cool. But again, who knows in terms of how that's going to happen, whether that is just something for the NPCs or whether that is also something the player can interact with. Another one is seeing employees quitting their jobs, right? And I know this is very, very minor, but again comes down to real world scenarios occurring, real things happening. Seeing an NPC quit their job just makes it feel like that NPC is living an actual life and they are a real person, right? So seeing that happening, I think will be quite cool to see. And the last thing that I'm going to be talking about in this video is firework fights. So we're going to be seeing people that are actually going to be having little fights, wherever that may be, with fireworks, firing those off at each other, having a bit of fun that way. And again, all of these sort of interactions, just seeing this around the world is going to make the world feel much more alive and much more realistic, right? Yeah, that doesn't happen every day, but I'm sure there have been certain situations where you may have seen that happening in real life, but we've never seen that happening in a game. So adding these little details to the NPCs that can happen just randomly around the world, obviously in select locations, I think is going to be really, really cool to see. So again, guys, I have much more in the leaked information to go over. If you enjoyed this video, let me know down in the comments. Do you want to see a part 2 to all of the events and interactions that you can have with NPCs or see in NPCs doing around the world? Let me know down in the comments. And what out of the list that I have provided today do you think will be the coolest to come across? So I hope you guys enjoyed the video, and if you did, please smash that like button, subscribe for more content, and hit that notification bell to be notified as soon as my videos go live. I'll be covering everything that I can about GTA 6 as soon as it comes out. So thanks again for watching, guys, and I'll see you later.